Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mailfile Development Livestream at day 7. Not the 7th day of development, but the 7th day of live streaming. So, glad to have you here. Thanks for joining. Yeah. Okay, so here it is, May 10th, 2021. And we are launching this week, so everything's got to be ship shape, essentially. Yeah, we are putting this online as the first iteration, and that will mark the end of the 4-week development process for this. So yeah, it's an exciting moment. It's also been like kind of interesting from the. Let me get chat squared away here. Always on top. There we go. Yeah, it's been an interesting process this time around because I think I may have finally keyed into like the right amount of work for getting something done within the space of a single month. So if you've been following along with the project, and if you haven't, we got all kinds of blog posts that you can catch up on if you choose to. So anyway, we started with this first one called Plotters. So that's what I was working on in January, and that was going to be the first startup I worked on. Although unfortunately, with the combination of me being super new to just like the Clojure ecosystem in general, and choosing a startup project that was just like way too involved and complicated in terms of like what I could actually possibly achieve within the scope of a single month, at least at that point. We got to the end of the month and I didn't have anything, so I chose to just kind of drop it and move on to the next thing in order to, essentially play by the rules of my own game. And so, yeah, we got onto Pick Story after that, which was the startup I started in February. And Pick Story went a little better, although we got to the end of week 4 and it still wasn't done, or like done in terms of like, feature complete in terms of like, the first iteration of one I wanted to get out there. So that ended up going 2 months instead of 1 month. So I kind of made the judgment call there that it would be not good to like not release something twice in a row. So instead of ditching it and moving on to the next thing, what I did was just spend some more time on it, working on getting it up. So we did get it online, but it was in 2 times the development period that I originally wanted to have it. So yeah, anyway, the concept that I could get this done in the space of like 4 actual weeks this time around, I think is, it's a nice kind of, I've had this thing in mind, like, develop the app and put it online in the space of a single month, and I think I might actually finally get there for a change. So, fingers crossed, but, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've got something that's like small enough and like featureful enough, rich enough to be like useful and like deployable as a beta product anyway. Yeah, so that's what we're doing this week, and then we're starting in on the front end of the app for today. So last stream I attempted to make the front end for the app, but we ran into all kinds of configuration, what's its and who's its, and assorted WebSocket nonsense. But now that we got that figured out, we can actually develop and have access to our REPL and have the whole shebang, the whole thing totally figured out. So now we're going to start in on the front end of the app for real. And the mantra for today is everything takes longer than you think it will. So yeah, I got sick a couple times this time around from like COVID vaccine side effects, and I thought I'd be like much farther along with many more features developed by this point in the game, but everything takes longer than you think it will, possibly twice as long, unless you're doing the exact same thing over and over again, in which case you might be able to predict how long a given task is going to take you. But trying to feel okay about what I've gotten done, and yeah, I think the most important thing is just going to be to like get it online and get it out there, and start getting some real world feedback on it. So that's where we're going to land by Friday. Alright, so let's get started, shall we? Right. So get these closed. And let's get back to the app itself, which right now is just a to-do MVC copy-paste job. So this is Reposh and DataScript, which will play really nicely with our Datomic backend. I'm excited to actually put some rubber to the road here and get this thing a running. So I think I'm going to be jumping back and forth between like front end and back end quite a lot. So let's get the front end and back end repositories opened up. And configured. Control C, Control V. We'll call this not landing copy, but backend code workspace. Okay. I had some nice colors. From last time here. Right. So just copy all this. Get that right. Open the workspace. And now I got some nicely color-coded windows here. So I know that when I'm working here, I'm going to be working on the app. When I'm working in this window, this is intended for back-end related files. So that's a little trick I've adapted recently just to keep myself from getting like completely boggled. Yeah. Actually, when we're here, jack it to a running. Yeah. This is depth Eden 771. Split you to the right. Alright, we got that REPL running. Let's get this REPL running. So, connect to a running REPL server, JSON 8081 sounds right. Connect to the front end REPL. Cool, okay. So, I think I might be like overwriting the contents of this output file over and over again as I jump back and forth, but each of those REPL instances is going to be like the closure script REPL on the front end and the closure REPL on the back end. Okay, so now we're here. You can see that we got some stuff set up already. So let's just kind of go through and review. So we've got this like initial DB. You create a connection to the data script. Connect. That initial DB is defined here but used elsewhere. Namely, it's used here. Alright, so we initialize the DB. This is an event. Set test status, create to do. These are events, these are things which change the database, and these are subscriptions which read from the database using queries. So that's real cool. We've got a query example, we've got a poll API example. Oh, that's cool. This is actually like a sheep that you can pull stuff from with that poll API, so that's really cool. Task IDs and task. Okay, so this is like, yeah, more clear examples. And then in the core, this is where we tie it all together. So we get in reposh, we get events and subscriptions. And then what does reposh do? We start the router, we initialize the DB, we render. And what we render is the following components. We wrap these. Right, so we render this, and they change, they dispatch event titles. On click, creates to-dos. Okay. Subscribe, dispatch, and nothing too unfamiliar. form. This is subscription to a form. Clicking on to do sets its task status to the opposite of whatever it was. Subs task ID. Alright. So I think I kind of want to leave this just as a reference. Especially if I get like way too deep into something weird and I need like something I know like works on my machine right now if I need something to reference after the fact. So I think I'll just leave this file. Now think about what I want to do. So what do I want to do? What TF do I want to do? What I want to do is the following. I want to increase the font size so y'all can read it better. Okay, so... Oh, sorry about that. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Twitch. I'm aware that I am streaming right now. Okay, so I need an API endpoint to query diatomic data. This is something I got hung up on when I was working on Pig Story. It was the idea that I had to have like my user in my state in my app, but seeing as we're doing session-based authentication, that user is going to be in the session on the back end. So all I need to do is like ask for the data I need, and then the back end is going to do the job of like figuring out which user is associated with that data and returning that user's data instead of some other user's data. Okay. Yeah, so what do we start with? We just start with all saveables, all items. Yeah, what do I call these things? It's like just arbitrary strings of data you're sending back. Did I have a name for it here? If I did, it's gonna be not in any of those. Back to our diatomic schema, which is actually defined in main, or is it? Yeah, it's defined right here. Okay. Gonna get some discipline, open it up over here so I'm not getting confused. Okay, so what do we say this? We have a UMA, username, password hash, salt, and email. We have it's not everything though, because here we go, schemas. I should get rid of that old one so I don't get confused. Username, password hash, salt, email, saved items. Saved items? Yeah, sure, we'll call it that. Guess we're already calling that. All saved items. Okay, so that's going to get all saved items for a given demo user. First thing we need, something to do that. Second thing we need, call that API endpoint from frontend. Add those datoms to our data script reposh db. Render them. Okay, so that's going to be the plan. We need an endpoint on the API to query the saved items from the database. Step 1, write that. Step 2, call that from the front end. Step 3, take those datoms and put them in the data script front end. Nextly is going to be render them, which will have some more steps associated with it, but we'll come back to that when we get to it. Okay, back to the back end. Alright, So core, first thing we need is a route. All right. Let's get this all into the REPL and let's start getting to getting. Okay, get all saved items. Handle get saved items. Okay, I got that there. Defin get saved. Get all saved items. I'll take requests. Alright, let's user, that's gonna be like this eventually, the user of the session of the request, but for now I think what we need to do is just oh, connection is destroyed. Line 12. My stuff running right now. Our datums. Datamizing. I remember I started the peer before the transducer. I was kind of wondering if that was a problem. Maybe it is. So now we're going to start the transactor before the peer. Oh, hello. Oh, yes. Transactor templates. Oh, need a new datomic key now, don't I? What I actually call. Vim, because I don't have never know how to get out of that. Alright. Cool, okay, so I just gave this the wrong file name. Alright. Start the peer. Alright, hopefully the peer get us going. Connection refused. The transactor does need to come before the peer. I think I said transducer before, I meant transactor. Okay. So now, after having done that, let's see if we can get this working. Load all this. There we go. Okay. So, what are my users? DQ, DB define username where some entity as a username assigned to the property username. All right. They're also going to have some saved items, and I want to see those too. Okay, so I was testing with that. Okay, so I think this A-fry user is going to be what we want. Just say that our user is going to be that. All right. So now that we've got our user, should call get all. Maybe this is like handle all saved items. This will be the actual function that does that. All right, so get that in the REPL first. We need an actual database handler for that. So we go into the database. We can actually call it anything. Okay, too many arguments to def and frequently getting that wrong as well. Okay, so we got this. We can require it in the backend. App.backend.db. Nope. All right. App.backend.db. Refer. Get all saved items. Get you into the REPL. Get all this re-edit stuff. Comment it out at the very least. All right. Put you in scope. Get all saved items. Make sure. At backend DB. DB.core. Okay, now we're good. So I think we can handle all saved items. Just call that. We should have a print line. Nope. Yep. That's more DB code. Now just need to write that code. All right. So if I wanted to get that, what would I do? This will give me all those refs, right? E2. First we need username, first we need their saved items. Then we need saved item text, and that's what we give back. Yep, exactly. All right. So sorting this is going to be another thing. I've got a hazy idea for how I do that, but I think the more important thing is just to get something on the screen, because that comes first. Get the stuff on the screen and then figure out how to make it look right. All right, so there's our query. Let's put this into a comment block for now. Get all saved items. So instead of print lining that, I'm gonna do that. And I think this is what we need. And we just return that unused binding username. Sure. Alright. So now if I call this for afry, other stuff. Right, get an array of arrays. Each array is each item. I guess I could do the job of like map first on all those. Then what I get back is not an array of arrays, but an array of strings. Cool. Alright, map v. Still not totally sure what the distinction is for like when to use a list and when to use a vector, but I'm pretty sure this is a vector kind of situation. Okay, so now we got that. I think I could actually go through on the front end, couldn't I? File local / all saved items. Okay, so I can't render it, but I did successfully request it from the web, so that's cool. Yeah, so let's request those from the front end instead. Okay, it's not here. Not in the back end, but the front end. Alright. So I think a page. Should a page initiate this? Should a route initiate this? All kinds of like router specific logic with pick story. When you hit a certain route that requests certain information. So I think it's a good way to start here. It's like initially what I had was like a bunch of components that were calling like get this, get that, and like updating state. But I think doing that for the level of the router is probably the better way to go. So yeah, let's see, like saved items. So the name of the route is saved items. The view will be saved items. View doesn't exist yet, so let's get to that. Front end pages. Saved items, that's CLJS. Okay. So just gives back a p tag, and it'll be a real page someday. Okay. Get our namespace in line. Get that in our REPL. Into the core module in turn. Now I think we got everything to at least get something on the screen. Okay, now we're coming to our next problem, which is the fact that I think if I did this right now, it'd be okay. page someday. So it all comes down to like this hash thing, right? This hash. That hash is so your front-end router can operate independently from your back-end router. Because, for instance, with the back-end, we've got like get all saved items, get root. So I've kind of been wondering about this. Send a page and enter Ajax. You know what, I think that's going to be my best option for the time being, so I think I'll just stick with it. So my idea there was to not only request the actual index HTML for this page, but like I kind of wanted to like run this function and respond back with this file at the same time. Not sure if that's actually possible or a good idea. But the hash is okay. Hash is good enough. No one looks at URL anyway, so it's cool, man. It's cool. Okay. Right, so we can render the page, and now I think we move on to the controller. Alright. And for this I'm going to need some reference code. It's really great to have a project built out in the way that I like to build things out. So then I can just reference it and be done with it. Okay, controllers, pathing ID, query, start and stop. Right, that was it. Did something quite that intense, but that's the basic idea. When you enter a route, run this code. When you leave a route, run some cleanup code if you need to. Alright. Controllers. Would be nice to not do that directly in the router config, however. So we can do like what am I saying? Def saved items controllers. Wrap that bad boy up. I'm not gonna have any parameters yet. Guess I don't even really need to leave that commented out, do I? Alright, start and stop. Now you can just be printline leading saved items. You for now can be printline entering saved items. Should just get that going for now. And then once we can verify that the code will run, correct moment, we'll begin to flesh it out. Alright. So, saved items, entering. Oop. Now we should get leaving saved items. Nope, because that's where going back to a different round entirely. Entering saved items, leaving saved items. Alright, cool. Now we need to do the Ajax stuff. And this is something I don't want to copy from a mail file. So we're doing this Ajax core module, which like worked. It could do basically everything I need it to do, but I'll hold my tongue in case the maintainers of that project are possibly watching, because, you know, making an open source file is a difficult, thankless task, but I kind of like a different library, if I'm being totally honest. This is kind of old and bonkers. Fetch API closure script GitHub. It's Lambda Island fetch thing, but it's also not that great, even though Lambda Island is like pretty cool. So, if you want to use it with reframe. Maybe like a Ajax library for reframe. Talking to server, we're going to use the CLJS Ajax library. Well, if they're going to use it, I'm going to use it. Maybe this time around I can explore a better way to work with it. CLJS Ajax, we're already in there. Okay. That's fine. Right, core. I think we need Ajax core for get. Alright. Do I have those? Do I have dispatch and stuff? Or is that here? Subscribe dispatch. Alright. Okay. So start and stop. I think I needed another paren here. No? Definitely need one there. Not one there? Nah, outside. There we go. But now we got one too many. Or two too few. That was it. Cool. So let's give it a shot, I guess. Should be working now. Saved items. Womp 404. What did I actually request? Wow. Should really be this 500 internal server error. Execution error, legal arguments. Okay, so I need to actually get this into a form that the server knows what to do with. Okay, so we just need to send 200 with a body that has that actual vector in it. I should probably encode it as JSON. Well, let's see if this works. Map literal status. Alright. What do you give me now? Body is an array. Which I think works. Let's see if it works here. All saved items. The response is a big ol' big ol' serialized string, I think that is. Okay, so we really do need JSON. I think we have JSON response too. Get you into the REPL. Now it is a string. And those items, which before were just a plain ass vector, are now kind of a stringified version of what we were sending before. So by the time it lands, we get a JSON array, and we get JSON JSON object. So maybe like something like this. Instead of sending an object with keys, what I get back is object with the key value pair with an array as the value. Yeah, here we go. That's looking really similar to what we had before. I think I don't need to wrap it like that. Yeah, let's see. Response. Response is a vector. Can I render the first other stuff? All right, cool. So this is a normal vector by the time it lands. So that's cool. All right. And now we get to the next part, which is actually writing this to the database when it arrives. So, got a little work to do here, don't we? So this is our initial DB. It's all that like to do related stuff we had from before. Reposh. Datomic definitely requires a schema before you start, and the date script seemingly not. So I can just put anything in there, I guess. What if creating a database would be as cheap as creating a hash map? Support data script development on Patreon. 127 patrons. That's pretty good, man. Alright. DataScript 101. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Initializing. Schema. So I guess I could make a schema. Oh, truth be told, I already have a schema. And it's probably gonna behoove me at some possibly very near point in the future to make this into a CLJC file, which means you can use Clojure script files written with that CLJC namespace, extension, file type, whatever you want to call it. That makes it possible to use the same file in both Clojure script and Clojure. I think it's worth it finding out about it now. CLJC extension. Oh, CLJX. Oh. So I think it's a good thing. I don't really have anything in here except for Clojure data. Not requiring anything. No macros. No exceptions. So maybe I can just use it. Oh, maybe I can just use it. Maybe all I need to do is rename this. Sigil. Alright, so I think that also means I need it's already on my source path. That's pretty sweet. At backend DB core. Let's try requiring that. not available. Backend DB core. Yes. Schemas backend. Man, I'm tired already. Schemas. Resource does not have expected namespace. App backend. So it founded. App.backend.core. Alright. So I think this also gets into some confusions. Source app. I've had around namespaces. Backend DB schemas. Schemas CLJC. Alright, back to the front end. Backend DB schemas. Save. Evaluate. Now we're good. Alright, so I'm going to have to figure that out on the backend as well. There we go. Cool. Great. Well, that was easier than I thought it was. Awesome. So gonna leave that. And we're gonna create a connection using the not only the user schema, but also the saved item schema as well. Also got stuff about the password hash in here, and about the salt, and about the email. All we really need is the username, email, and saved passwords. So I might go through some kind of process of let's merge user schema. What does this give me? There, but here, saved item. Get you in the REPL, even though I think you're technically already there. Now, what I want is a flat vector, and that's not what I have. All right. So that's roughly what I've got. Merge was not the right thing. I believe into is. Yes. Also, if there's more than one thing here. Yep, okay. So into. And how about we just call this def unified schema is going to be into helpful name just to remind us what the F that thing is. And we crash the front end. Yes. DB. Nil schema, map schema. All right. So, right. Sent it an array. And it really needs a map. Maker, car colors. All right. Okay, so to get this into the right format, I think I need to take the ident, use that as the basis of the like main keys of my schema, like car maker, car colors. So if I do like def test schema. Make sure that I can do like can I do this successfully? If so, then I can do this all in one step. But if not, I need to transact multiple schemas for each like category of datum. Yeah, I guess it was okay with that. Car maker, saved item text. And the datums themselves. Yeah, okay, cool. So user schema. What we're going to do is we're going to map over the user schema. We're going to identity on that. So here are our individual map items. So the first thing we need to do is we need to grab the DB ident. So for each one of those, can't just do this. These are like namespace qualified keywords. Nope. Cool. Okay. So there's that. There's this. All right. So for each one of those, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to like merge the rest of the properties in that object together. But we're going to drop the DB ident part because that's going to be like duplicates. Okay, let the ident be the DB ident of a given schema object. Then the properties. Yeah. It's going to be dissoc db ident from the Schema object. And then what we return is the ident as a key. But we need to, no, that's already a keyword, so that's cool. Can I do that? Yeah, not yet. It's not wrapped. Print error. Okay, so if I wanted to like have a, let's make this a little more realistic. Hello, def value. It's going to be like some vector, some map rather. So we got this, we got that. Do is I want to build, oh, what? Should have totally worked. Maybe I called this soc incorrectly. The map and the key. Alright. So I got that backwards. Otherwise, I wrote it right the first time, so that's kind of cool. Username, user, password hash, and then all the stuff. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Alright. So we map over all those, and then we got a vector of objects, vector, map, collections, maps, can I do like into a map with that maybe? So I just need to transition. Ooh, I can. That's exactly what I need to do. Excellent. Okay, so if I had like into some key, some values. Hi, Andy, you're getting it nested map value. What's wrong with you? Accepted transducer, received vector. Maybe apply into, oh. Nope. I do into first and then like a merge? Yeah, into that thing. A merge. So they've been in vectors. Them into maps and then we merge them. Nested map value. Some keys and values, nested map value. Yep, that's what we want. All right. So the first thing we do is make data script schema. I'm going to take and schemas. So we're going to say as maybe, and now I'm trying to do this with variadic arguments too. Bit tricky, bit tricky. All right. So I'm going to be able to pass multiple things into here, multiple arrays. But we just start by calling make schema and see where we go from there. So make data script schema from user schema and saved item schema. In the REPL, run the code. Maybe it would just be like map make schema from datomic schemas instead of this. Let's give that a try. So I should get 2 objects back. Yeah. Nah, two vectors. Alright, here's where I do my threading. Not there, but here. So we make the schemas. We into alright, so I was getting 2 lists. I think I should get 2 objects when I call that function now. Yes, we have a list of 2 objects, user, and then way at the end here, saved item. Alright. Merge, and then we merge. I think that's all we gotta do. Do I need to call like first on this? Maybe seek. Schema, map schema. Schema validation. Expected a ref. Why'd you expect a ref, I wonder? Why do you expect... Now, firstly, can we use this with only one? I think we can. Bad attribute type specification. But saved attributes. What's a ref? Car maker. Maybe it's the fact that these are somehow namespace qualified maps, whereas this is not. Well, it kind of is, right? Saved item text. When you evaluate it, it comes out looking the same. Why do you come out looking like that, huh? You do. If you only have one namespace inside. But if not, then you're not namespace qualified. If there are multiple namespaces on that particular level of your map. So Well, if I don't need a schema to start, then maybe this is not going to be a fruitful exercise. Educational for sure. Or maybe if I merge them first. Yeah, if I did like merge user schema saved item. To into little maps easier to work with. Yeah, okay. Hi, hello. Test 1, 2, 3. That we map merge on these. Maybe apply merge. Apply into. Man, I just want just one vector with all my objects. Maybe map identity? No, that just gives me the last one. Hold on. One of those. One of those I actually did have what I wanted. Was it apply merge? Yes, it was. Apply merge. I don't have to map. So if I do like apply merge to those, I get one single vector of objects, right? Yes. And then call make schema on that. Now maybe I need to map make schema. Now it takes an array, so I should be able to call make schema on it. maybe I need into. Yes, yes, this is what we want. This is what we want. That's what we want. I think that's actually it. Ref. All I can have is a string. Or a ref, rather. String, 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 string. Type. How to get schema now. Differences from Datomic. Totally from scratch, yada yada yada. Runs in a browser or in a JVM. Simplified schema, not queryable. Attributes do not be declared in advance. Put them to schema only when you need special behavior from them. Well, there goes the last 45 minutes of my life. Any type can be used for values. Alright, no schema migrations. Yada yada yada. Okay, well, I'm gonna take a quick break, everyone. I'll be back in just about 5 minutes, but yeah, hang tight. We'll be back soon. All right, we are back. Okay, so we don't need a schema. We did learn some good stuff, though. We used CLJC for the first time ever, basically. Got some good practice with some of the core closure and closure script functionalities. What we were trying to do was not what we had to do, but that is okay. All right. Geez, where were we? I think we were trying to transact this into the database itself, right? Yeah, so we can get the response. Now we need to dispatch. Okay. So dispatch events, set task status. Can do like reposh reg events ds. Gonna call that load all to dos. This could be a function that takes load all saved items. Saved items. That's going to be, just map over those and db add them, right? db add. It's an index, huh? Index. Let's just try this right now. db add username Andy. Guess we can't write to it directly, can we? So let's just try to define this function. And maybe call it from the index, call it from core. Let's say like dispatch. I think needs the two. Man, stuff gets complicated quick, doesn't it? Front-end state events nil. What did dispatching look like in our to-do? Actually, to call that just a little bit differently, call that with the event and then the arguments that the callback function or whatever you want to call it actually takes. All right. Nil. All right. Well. What happens when we subscribe to that? What does that look like? Nil. Subscribe, subs, task. Because we didn't create a subscription for it either. Alright. Reg sub. Oh, save items. So, I haven't used pull syntax yet, so I think this is going to be like a query thing. Sorry for the microphone noise. Okay. Function. The type of thing we're sending is going to be a query. Find saved item. Entity having the name of saved item text has some text. Get back to us there. Alright. So that might be our load all saved items subscription, but I did try writing just my username to the database, so let's try to make a query for that too. Find name. What did I actually write? I dispatched load all save items. That's not what I write in the DB, however. That's not what I write in the event. Username is what I wrote. Test. So we're going to return some text, maybe, probably not, and then text. Let's comment that out for now. Alright, back in core. If I try to subscribe to that, what do I see? Nil. Dispatch load all these saved items. And maybe we'll just add an ID for the kicks. An ID of 99. So maybe we get something back when we send it a valid insert command. Let's find out. We get nil back. We get nil back as well. That's because we don't have the right stuff. Maybe. Well, we know we've got some of this stuff from last time that does work. So what happens if we call 77. Hello. There. I also got nil back, so no indication that anything actually happened. Maybe we see that in the browser. Alright, refreshed. Uh oh, hello. hello. Hello there. Awesome. What happens if we don't give you an ID? Nothing gets written. Okay. It'd be really cool if I had like an index from my map. It'd be really cool if I could inspect this stuff from the REPL. So let's try task. Can I get the task IDs? Yeah, if I subscribe to the task IDs, what do I get back? Oh. That's what I use in the code. Maybe I can't call this from the REPL. Nope, I definitely can. If I try that from here. Null pointer exception. I can call it here, but not there. Front state subs. Okay, so I need that stuff required in the namespace to actually successfully query something from the database. Good to know. That's where that null pointer exception came from. So if I was calling this in to-dos, for instance, I bet I would get a different result. Nope. Task IDs. Well, if I'd written that correctly, maybe I'd get something back. Yeah, okay. And just to check one more time, this definitely doesn't work over here. Nope, definitely doesn't work. Okay, so you need your actual subscriptions in namespace where you're trying to subscribe to something from this database. All right. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Ooh. Yeah, nice day outside. Okay. Twirl our hair. Stop feeling so serious. Enclosure a little bit. Just have a coffee, man. It's cool. All right. So we come back to our original problem, which was writing something to the database and reading it from the REPL. We're trying to do that from the core file before. I think we need to do it from here. All right. So we've got events. Just load all saved items. So let's just try calling that from here, right? And load all saved items. What does that say? It says nil. But what happens when we try to run the query, which retrieves that? What does it tell us then? Also tells us nil. And maybe it's because we wrote our stuff wrong. So we try to write something with a username of Andy. Username test. Alright. So maybe This is okay. I think this dispatch thing is not working. So what if we did this? If we set 2 to false, do we get something back when we do that? No. All right. Cannot store nil as a value. db add 5 task title nil. Why am I trying to do that? Maybe somewhere here. So if I set 2 to true, not check now. If I set it to 2 to true, what do I see? Nothing. What if I try to subscribe? I'm probably gonna need that later. Subscribe to a task. Give me an ID. Nil. Okay, so there's an atom. What's the value of that atom? did2 task done true. Maybe it's the checkboxes that are wrong. So if I set this to false, and I look at it again, task done false. Okay, yeah. Check marks lying to us. All right. Okay, so here's a query. Here's a dispatch event. Right, so we just set that to something totally ridiculous. We're not going to get a response back with like success or failure when we call this, and we can only see whether it changed through a subscription. Okay, good to know, good to learn. All right. So if I wanted to like repush reg sub get my test user function type query itself be find a name where an entity has a username that corresponds to name. Okay. So now we have a ridiculous the named function in here. We can call it here. All right. So that gives us nil. We have an event. Load my test user. Username of username. Give it a function name just to be a little more legit. Okay. So dispatch EVT. All right, prepend it with EVT. That's one place I definitely went wrong. Handy. All right. Still nil. Alright. That thing only took one argument. Reposh, keyword, function, enclosing array. The right function. Next comes the keyword. Nothing special here. Next comes the function. Takes arguments maybe. Enclosing vector. Database command. ID. Done status. Status. What if it was like -1? Yeah, well, let's try that. All right. Null pointer exception. Maybe that? Nope. EVT. Nil. Get my test user. Alright. So what's the missing piece? Is it the fact that the initial ID had nothing in here? About a user. My event wrong. Reposh reg event ds. db add using this ID, that key, and that value. EVT set task status. Let's take a look at that. Set task status. ID not done. There's a definite opportunity for errors. It's like guess I wrote this wrong. It's like it's ignored object, and then there's like what we actually sent, and then the value. Okay. That may very well have been it. Alright, load test user. Let's go. Still nil. Load my test user. Alright. That does give me the idea to hard code this though. Maybe the problem is not the fact that we wrote the function wrong. It's the fact that we're calling it wrong. Subs. Alright, subscribe one more time. Subs/create to form. Subs/create to form. Don't really take any arguments. Subscribe, subs, create to form. Definitely gives you something back. That is for sure. Man, I got no clue here, guys. Definitely got a bunch of IDs in there. Still got our own task. I have to subscribe to this first and dispatch, do I? No. My only other idea is that I have never actually sent this to the browser yet. My first idea. Second idea was that there's something in the database which is goofing me up, but I don't think that's the problem either. So, when in doubt, we head back to the docs. All right. Define complexity. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Before you can do that, you need to learn how to use these magical tools. Okay. Basic mechanism for subscribing to a database is the reg sub function. Merge sub needs 3 IDs. A query ID, acquired inputs for this node. Okay, so now I think maybe the fact that my function definition is not written like all the other ones, that could be a problem. Okay, so now go back to do. Run this, still nothing. Oh, Jesus. Didn't even wrap it in a, oh, look at that. It wasn't wrapped in the vector. It was not wrapped in the vector. Oh man, amazing. How easy it is to get stuff like that wrong. Okay. So, can I add just random people, null pointer exception? File username. Hey. We can set it now. Oh, Tommy boy. Why aren't you changing? Maybe because I didn't have that saved? No. It's probably because of the ID, right? For that, I think I'm going to turn to the data script docs. Initializing and adding records. Insertion. What in the? -1. Ah, okay. So I wonder if I have a bunch of users in there now. Maybe I didn't specify that there could be more than one. Alright, shouldn't be anything in there now. Wait. There we go. There we go. Cool. Okay. Got to chooch. Oh. Okay, well, we did something custom with it. That's a huge step. So now I guess we can adapt this code to write the stuff from the write the stuff on the back end to the front end database. Okay. So load all saved items. This needs to be written like that. That thing comes first. WAMP, then the ID. Do I really need to do that? It seems kind of annoying. Fence task. Set task status. Create to do. I think that's going to be the best reference. A blank, an ID, and a value. Okay, so I guess that's just how it has to be. Alright, so reposh, regiment, load all to-dos. We have a function that takes up a bunch of stuff. Addition to the to-dos, not to-dos, but saved items. Right. So this is something I kind of struggled with in Datomic on the back end. So what I'm getting at is like an array of strings, an array of strings. Then what I want to do is I want to map v over those. I want to say give me back db add something like that. No element vector of length 3. Invalid arity 0. Never know how to use that hash function. There we go. Okay. Do I need that temp ID? Fear not, fear's the mind killer. That looks like an awful way to do whatever the heck it's doing. Fear not, fear's the mind killer. Good policy. Maybe map indexed. Perfect. Okay. And that builds our yes. Okay. Cool. Saved items. Into a fresh vector goes the following map function. Map over all the saved items, make a db add vector for them, and that's what happens when we call this event. All right. So yeah, we got that, and now push reg sub, register subscription, register event ds. What does ds stand for? I wonder. Gets all saved items. Function weird thing followed by more weirdness. All right. Type query. The query itself would be find saved item text where, oh, that could be more than one, where an entity exists that has a saved item text, save that to the result. Okay. Load all saved items. Get all saved items. Alright, so if I say dispatch event some stuff that goes in the DB, dispatch that, get a nil back, of course, and then we subscribe. Subs gets all saved items, I think. Get all saved items. Empty vector. All right. Save that, see if we can print something when this event goes off. Alright, dispatch, load all saved items. Cool, so we called it, and stuff that we sent is there. Saved item text. Saved item text. Boink. Now I bet we get it back. Nope. Yeah, just reload this for good luck. Alright. Load it into the DB. Null pointer exception. I don't know what those first two are. It's the schema. It's the name of the event. Ah, it's the whole DB. That's kind of cool. Just relax on closure a little bit. Just learn it. It's the whole DB with all their IDs. Okay, that's nice. but I didn't load it right. Which means maybe I didn't write the function right. Strings are okay. What are you right now? Some stuff that goes in the DB. DB add. Yeah, that's all good. If I call the into function, it gives me pretty much what I think I need. Saved item text. Where am I getting that weird string thing from? Maybe the browser has more info. Expected number or lookup ref for entity ID got 0. Expected entity ID or lookup ref got 0. All right, back to school. I've got time to try to tie these things together. Uniqueness and identity. It's so shocking to find out how many people do not believe they can learn, and how many more believe learning to be difficult. I remember that from Dune. So if I was working with DataScript directly, could use that syntax. Maybe I still can. So in that case, I wouldn't need the index. I just need to make an object. Maybe that'll work. Load all saved items. Yoink. Nil. No error, but nil. Hey, there we go. Excellent. Cool. Okay. 421. Man. Speaking of Frank Herbert's comments on learning being difficult or that you cannot learn, I've wanted at many points in this stream just to turn it off and quit, but we're getting really close. Yeah, we're getting really close because I stuck with it, so that's great. Load all saved items, get all saved items. Actually, I think we have what we need to hook this up to the network call. Dispatch and subscribe. Okay, so we need to require this stuff. Okay, in the core. In the planet core. So we got that, but we need the subs and the events as well. Okay. Global state. Okay, so when this goes off, we call this handler function. This handler function, in turn, calls this event, load all saved items. Does not call the event, dispatches the event. Tells some other function to call a function. Alright. Instead of our hard-coded thingy, we do that. Okay, so tell us that the request went off, and then load all the saved items. And we need something in the code itself to render in response to the state changing. Alright, not going to be in the back end, it's going to be here. Copy that for reference. Require the things that must be required. Okay. Render saved items. So we're not gonna get all saved items. Saved items. Alright. Instead of this function that we return for saved. Did I use a for loop? Reagent. So I've been using map in reagent. I think that's not the thing to do. For item of items. Alright. UL undeclared var. For each item of our saved items. It's pretty much good enough, I think. Be a real page someday, but for now, you just render saved items. Front-end pages saved items is not available. Event handler. Event load all saved items. Core. Res. event handler registered. We're still getting the stuff. We are. Still getting the stuff. Event load all saved items. The first thing from the response. Other stuff. Okay, what I want to send in there is the whole vector, not just the first one. Acquired namespace front-end pages saved items is not available. Oop. Honestly, man, I think it is. I think it's right there. No event register, handler registered for. Load all saved items. Okay, so now it's telling me I don't have an event, but I do. I do, and I'm calling it. Okay. I'm trying to call it too quick. Match. 9 hidden. Alright, so I just wrote a bunch of nonsense into the DB. Should be getting a response. Front-end pages saved items is not available. Maybe I'm getting an old version of the app because I ignored. record an error message. Simultaneously something I feel like I have a lot of freedom to do. Enclosure scripts. That's something that's kind of dangerous. Your app will just be working for days and you won't have any idea. Oh, I had it that whole time. That whole time I had it. That whole time I had it. Nice. In the DB. Excellent. Okay, there we have it, guys. What a protracted process. What a protracted process. But now it's in. Now it's in. That's great. Ugh. Jeez. Well, Frank Herbert. I do believe I can learn, but sometimes learning is a little difficult. Man, I really hope I'm making choices that are gonna make my development cycle faster, because, well, I just got half a dozen different coworkers over the years just laughing in my face for getting tied up in all this ridiculously complicated stuff. Or at least that's how they term it, right? Those guys who just stuck around with vanilla JavaScript and PHP because it was good enough. Yeah, anyway, I think it's just the ramp-up time. It's all ramp-up time. This is something I think I'm learning a little more. It's like cool tool equals ramp-up time. But once I get this tool integrated, I think it's going to save me a bunch of time. It's like one thing I'm trying to avoid here is like the situation I got into with PicStory. And you can see it right away in terms of all these atoms that like control all this stuff in the app. So this is not even all that much state, to be honest, but this just became like so tedious to work with after a while. So I've got all these atoms. Need to pass all these atoms down to the view in this map because, like, you know, you want to keep it like in the global state so you can like kind of thread it through easily to like components and subcomponents. So it just became like such a chore after a while. It made me feel like I was building something in like a dumb way, you know? Like, just feels really silly when story builder, yeah, here we go. It's really silly when you're just like, you know, doing atom blocks here, and then that came from that component, and that came from that component, and like so on and so forth. Just like threading the needle over and over through all these various components and subcomponents just to get your app state from where you need to be. So the strategy we're taking here is to save this all in like one centralized database and do these like events and subscriptions, which are like, you know, not tied to like how you're passing functions around and like arguments to functions directly within components. So this is eventually going to be a lot easier, but yeah, there are just a couple little like quirks and funny things I had to learn along the way to actually get to the point where I can do this. But now that I can, it's great. So anyway, I think I'll end the stream there, but let's wrap up what we did. What we got done. We got something to render on the front end. Success. Those some things were to get DB contents on the front end. We wrote an API route to query all saved items for a given user. On the back end, sent that back as a JSON array to the front end. Grabbed that array and wrote a transaction function to write the individual items in that array as datons in our front-end data script database. event wrote a subscription event to read those newly added DB items. And finally rendered them on page. For next time, if I refresh, if I go back, then forward, back, then forward. Oh, I won't even duplicate them either. Pizza. Okay, so I can write. It's interesting. Is that uppercase pizza, lowercase pizza? No, it's all the same stuff. So I am performing that query over and over again, and I am writing duplicates to the DB, but for some reason I'm not seeing those duplicates. That's interesting. Whoa. My exposure. My camera exposure. It's being ruined by the sun. Okay. Real quick. Oh, that's kind of a nice effect. A little underlighting. Start styling. Restrict requests to the logged in user. Alright, cool. There's a bunch of good stuff. Let's see. Data script 101. Got that. I think that was about it. Alright, cool. Well, thanks for joining me, everybody. I'll be back here tomorrow and we will make more progress. So, we'll see you then.